The only person that's coming to save you is you. And when you wake up and realize that that voice you keep hearing in your head that you think is God is actually your voice, when that voice turns from a man's voice that you fabricated with your own brain, and eventually it merges or it morphs, and you get to the day where you realize the voice in your head actually sounds like you, when it actually changes from that fake voice and you hear your own echo in your own mind, that's when you reach a higher level of consciousness. That's when you reach a high level. When you hear that voice and that voice is actually your voice, then you pretty much could say, man, I made it. Until then, you're living in a delusionary state. If you keep calling God a he and giving God a gender and won't he do it and he gonna save me and he's good all the time. He's good all the time. I'm living here, I'm living in a mansion. I'm in the back house of my house, I'm living in a mansion. Or I can go 20 miles down the street and there's people living on the street. Won't he do it? Good all the time. Come on now, let's use some logic. Do you think that there's a God that can create universes that's saying, you know what? Billy deserves a mansion, but this guy down the street, he deserves to be homeless. Thanks for the badges. He loves me, but you know what? I think I'm gonna make him homeless because there's just something about Billy. I want to give him this mansion. That's the people getting jobs. God gave me this job. God ain't give you no job. You got a job because you're qualified. You passed the test. You passed the interview. You had a good resume. You know what you're doing. You're passionate about yourself. You have faith and confidence in your skills and abilities. And somebody said, I want to give this person a chance. There's nobody running around creating planets and universes that comes all the way back and says, you know what? Let me pause this. Let me pause creating this planet for a minute. I got to get back over here because so-and-so just needs to get this job. Meanwhile, there's 20 people on the corner, right on the street, right around the corner, begging for change at the red light. You see how we're thinking? You see how we're thinking? It's ridiculous. A whole catastrophe happens with tornadoes, comes through a whole neighborhood and destroys every house. A few houses remain. You interview the person. God saved our house. Do you really believe that? That God saved your house and destroyed all these other people's houses? Well, they're infidels now, right? There's a famous scripture in the Bible, in the New Testament, where, see, I'm an expert on the Bible. Nobody can debate me on the Bible because I'm an expert in this Bible. I know all the verses, I know everything, from front to back, back to front, all the broken down languages, all the translations and mistranslations as well. But in the New Testament, there's a verse in the Bible where, a passage where Jesus is speaking to a small multitude. And his disciples are around him, who, by the way, the disciples were ignorant men. In other words, they were illiterate. They couldn't read or write. So if you think the disciples wrote anything in the Bible, again, you're fooling yourself. The disciples wrote zero. They didn't know how to read or write. But anyway, that's a whole nother life. There was a bunch of women walking by a structure, by a building, an old building, while he was out there talking. It was a windy day. The wind came. Some of the loose stones at the top of that building came crushing down on those women as they were walking by and killed them. The disciples right away, oh man, they were with sin. They died for their sins. And you know what Jesus said? AKA Yeshua, his real name. He said, no, man, stop it. These women didn't die from no damn sin. He said they were basically in the wrong place at the wrong time, is his wording. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time, man. Sometimes shit just happens. Stop. You're going too far. You see? We've got to stop attributing everything that's happening from some outside source. Something bad happens to somebody. God's will made this happen to them. No. It's called sometimes it's called coincidence. Sometimes it's called bad timing, depending on how you want to phrase it. Wrong place, wrong time, right? Sometimes it's based on our own decision. Every decision we make has a consequence, whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence. I was talking to my driver this morning. We were coming back from the beach. My driver, Junior, if he's on here now, shout out to Junior. He's been driving me for years, right? And so we're coming back and we're talking about, these kind of topics, like people understanding outside source, inside source, when is a person going to realize it's them putting themselves in situations? He was talking about a place that he was located in with my other driver that I have, because we have to bounce back and forth sometimes. One is busy, one's not. Boosie. They were in a location, in a place outside that Junior could sense was bad vibes, bad energy there. And he was like, we're exposed right now. We're in a place where anything can pop off at any moment. We need to get out of here. And his friends were like, what are you talking about, man? He said, no. We're putting ourselves in a situation where there's a probability, the probability factor of something negative happen is increased. And he spoke, he acted on that action, and they left. Another person that can't discern their own consciousness, not God, and I believe in God. So if you think it's not that I don't believe in God, you're wrong. I believe in the creator of the universe, by the way. What I'm telling you is, your mind talks to you, because why? You are God. God is you. It's the same exact entity that created the universe. It's the same exact entity that inhabits every atom inside your body. And if you don't believe that, then you don't believe in God at all. If you don't believe that God inhabits every atom, then you don't believe in God. You're just a delusional person that believes in magic. And so because God inhabits every atom and your entire body, including your brain, is made of atoms, you hear yourself think. You hear yourself talk to yourself. He said to himself, his God body said to himself, hey, get out of here, man. You guys are at a high probability negative situation. When negative energy moves, it doesn't care what's in its path. It will devour everything in its path. It does not care. It does not care. It will devour everything in its path. You can make a decision. I'm talking about making conscious decisions and the consequences of those decisions. You can put yourself in a situation where the probability odds are higher that something bad is going to happen to you, whether physically, emotionally, or whatever, right? And so you have a power, though, within you to hear your voice and then move yourself from one environment to another environment. And you could change the outcome probability, and you can reduce the probability factor of negative energy towards higher energy. And put yourself in a situation where you're less, not that it's guaranteed, but you're less likely to experience negative energy.